Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here. Welcome back to another video. In this one, we are going to be going over all of the secret changes or the stealth changes, whatever you want to call them, for update 6.0. So all of the stuff that wasn't included in the patch notes. I'm also going to start the video off by talking about some changes that DICE have recently made to the game following some feedback that I had in fact in yesterday's video. So we're going to get started with all of that here in a second. But first of all, as always, if you guys do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as we cover everything related to Season 6 and beyond. Thank you guys so much for your support. Okay, so let's begin with the elephant in the room. In yesterday's video, I was talking about how the Battle Pass is now much more grindy than it has been in previous seasons. They nerfed the amount of points that were rewarded from the weekly missions, and they increased the amount of XP you needed to level up each individual battle pass point from around 2,000 experience to 6,500. However, yesterday the Battlefield Communications Twitter, or now X account I guess, they put out this tweet here saying it's our goal to ensure that our Battlefield 2042 battle passes are fair, respect your time, and the rewards are obtainable during each season. The battle pass balancing that has taken place for the duration of Season 6 is not currently meeting these goals, as it would have resulted in some being unable to fully attain the battle pass without significant time investment. So I've seen a lot of people commenting on yesterday's video saying that DICE had changed the battle pass rewards as a mistake here, it was unintended, but from this tweet here, it doesn't sound like it was unintended. I think they just bit off a little bit more than they could chew, and then seeing the flack from the community, they decided to act, which, you know, I'm certainly grateful for. So next week, we will be ensuring that the weekly missions for week 2 will be 5 points per mission, but that's only to make up for the lost points on this week's weekly missions. So every week after that has now been readjusted to ensure each weekly mission will now reward 4 points, which is a total of 36 points each week without the bonus. So with the bonus mission you get 46 points each week, which is still way less than the 55 points we would have gotten in all of the previous seasons. You have also highlighted that the XP point total for normal gameplay is 6,500. This is intentional in connection to the duration of this season. With these changes, our intent is that players who complete the majority of their weekly missions will reach tier 100 with a reasonable amount of hours per week, and even with some time to spare before the end of the season. So I think this is a good change overall. Obviously, I'm glad to see DICE acting on the negative feedback that they've seen around these changes here, but it's still worse than what we had before. So basically now we're going to be getting 4 points per week for each Battle Pass mission, whereas before we were still getting 5 points. According to them, this is to make up for the fact that the season is 2 weeks longer than normal, so this season is a 16-week season and not a 14-week season as per usual. So they're essentially docking us 9 points per week here. So if we do a simple calculation, 9 times 14 is 126, and we are getting 46 points per week here. So we're actually only getting a total of 92 extra points for the extra week 15 and 16, but we are losing, what did I say, 126 points. So we're actually losing more points overall here than we're gaining from those 2 weeks. So even after this change, we are still progressing at a slower rate, and that's of course outside of the fact that each point in XP grind is going to take a lot longer, with it starting at about 6,500 XP up from 2,000. I really don't understand why they had to mess with this. To me, it's just a classic case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In fact, that was one of the things about the Battlefield 2042 Battle Pass that always encouraged me to buy it and purchase it, is I knew that I could easily complete it. I'm a busy man. I'm sure a lot of you people are busy and have busy lives as well, and you value your time. With the previous battle passes, I always felt like if I missed a week or wasn't able to play the game, I could still easily complete the battle pass, so I didn't worry about purchasing it and then not having the time to complete it the same way I would with other battle passes, like let's say for Overwatch or Call of Duty. I never really bothered buying those because I saw after trying it once that I just didn't have time to put in that amount of hours. Now I will say this for DICE, they seem to be acting very quickly here on the feedback we're giving them, which I think is a really good thing. So it seems that they've addressed the problem with a lot of AI soldiers showing up in the matchmaking system, as I'm sure many of you will have experienced over the past couple of days. So they say we've become aware of an unexpected rise in AI soldiers during matchmaking for Battlefield 2042 Conquest 128. As a result, we have just pushed a server fix that will remove 64-player variant maps from this playlist, which should suppress the AI soldiers. They almost had us. So apparently that has now been fixed. You should no longer be seeing as many AI enemies or teammates in your games anymore. Honestly, I've never really understood why they had the 64-player map redacted in the 128 playlist, because it already had its own dedicated playlist that everybody's been playing, and much of the changes coming for Season 6 are in the form of vehicle changes. Of course, there's the new vehicle, all things that can't actually be experienced within the new map at all. So a lot of people are going to be queuing in the 128 playlist in order to try those things out. And it is incredibly frustrating to have redacted pop up again and again. Yesterday, I was trying to record something for a video. I had to queue 4 times, no joke, in a row to actually get a map that wasn't redacted. It was getting kind of silly, so really good to see this change come in. Now, they've also gone ahead and made a slight tweak here to the afterburners for the jet. So they say, we've also made a small change to jet afterburners. We felt that the active afterburner time was too low and have increased it from 3 seconds up to 6. Keep your feedback coming. So obviously yesterday I voiced my opinions there. I was not very happy about the jet changes. Not sure if I'm still going to be very happy about them, but this is definitely a step here in the right direction. Alright guys, with that said, let's hop into the stealth changes. I do want to just mention, by the way, that Battlefield 2042 is going to be free to play from the 12th of October to, I believe, the 14th. So if you've been on the fence about getting the game, and this is for all platforms here, feel free to go ahead, jump into Season 6 and give the game a go. You may as well. Okay, so first of all grenade launchers now only have 1 ammo. So previously you used to get 3 rounds, I believe. So whatever it was, whether it was the smoke grenades, the frag grenades, the armor piercing grenades, you used to get 3 rounds for all of them. This has now been reduced down to 1 for every single type of grenade in the game. And this was of course excluded from the patch notes. I can only assume this is part of DICE trying to deal with the explosive spam, which I think is a good thing overall. However, I think it was unnecessary perhaps of them to nerf the amount of smoke grenades that you get, and maybe also the armor piercing grenades. For those of you who like to run an engineer with armor piercing rounds and take out enemy tanks, the armor piercing rounds are definitely an integral part of that build. So maybe this is also intentional. Maybe they want Crawford with his new trait that gives him an extra RPG or an M5 charge to be the new tank destroyer, and they don't want anybody with an underbarrel grenade launcher to be able to fulfill that role. Now, next up, you can change your music in the game menu. So previously you only had the music of whatever season we were playing. Now there is actually a brand new option that allows you to select the music from all of the different seasons in the game, as well as the default music. I would really love to see them bring some music from older games as well. I don't really think they're going to do that, but that would be really cool to get like some Battlefield 1 music in there, or some Battlefield 4 music. Now, there are also some really big changes to 2 of the weapons in the game that didn't make the patch notes either. You guys may have noticed that in yesterday's video, I was using the shotgun, the MCS-880, quite a lot there, and I did mention that it had seen some improvement. They've actually decided to divulge the actual numbers here to us via the Battlefield Communications channel. So the MCS-880 damage has been increased from 15 to 20 per pellet from 0 to 20 meters, and then pellet distribution has been changed for more consistent hits and less dead zones. And then the 12M damage has actually been reduced from 15 down to 10 per pellet between 20 to 50 meters. So if you pick up the MCS and use it now, it just feels so much more accurate. The range is far better as well. It's just an absolute joy to use. So it's gone from one of the worst weapons in the game to probably one of the best, if I'm being honest, for the new map. Also, I think definitely a good idea to nerf the 12M auto a little bit, because we all know that's overpowered as hell, and that would have been an obvious choice for redacted. In addition to that, we've also got some P90 dispersion changes. So plus 15% dispersion during sustained fire while stationary in aiming down sights, 10% less dispersion during sustained fire while moving and aiming down sights, and then 20% less dispersion during sustained fire while hip firing and aiming down sights. So it seems like this weapon is going to be a little bit better whilst you're moving around with it, which I would argue is probably how the P90 is intended to be used, and a little bit less accurate when you're standing still ADSing. There is a brand new low vehicle health warning on the spawn screen, so if you click on a vehicle and you're about to spawn in and is on low health, you will get a warning now before you spawn in and get blown up and not afterwards. I'm not sure what the threshold is here when this warning is activated, but I would guess it's something around maybe 20, sub 20% HP. There's also a brand new spawning animation, so every time you spot an enemy, some of you may have noticed there's this yellow rectangle that sort of flies in on top of the enemy. That's a really cool addition here. It just adds a little bit more visual feedback to tell you when you've actually spotted somebody. And then finally here, somebody's spotted this new portal page on the hosting section. So if you have a server of your own hosted, it will actually display that and all of the information, and you can then choose whether to join the match in your server that is persistent or take down the server and start up something new. I think previously, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you wouldn't have seen this screen, and if you try to create a new server, it would sort of give you an error message and tell you that you already had a server that existed. So there you go, guys. Those are all of the stealth changes that I could find for update 6.0. By all means, if there's something that you spotted and I haven't mentioned in this video, feel free to leave that down in the comments below. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Go and check out the Twitch channel if you want to go and hang out with me live over there and maybe play a few rounds of Battlefield 2042. Special thank you to my members and Twitch subscribers for the additional support. Have a good one, guys, and I will see you in the next video.